Hello, you guys, and welcome back to the Culture and the Cross podcast. This is a podcast where we talk about the happenings in our church planting journey. We talk about as seen on social media and then questions that need answers. And we're your hosts. I'm Artra.
I'm Corey.
Yes. So let's dive into the happenings.
So 2 weeks ago, we did our outreach.
I love doing the outreaches.
Love doing the outreaches.
I do.
Once a quarter, we as a church generally do some type of outreach, whether we go and serve with the organization or we donate items. We haven't donated stuff in a while, but we've normally done serving. Yeah. Whether we do our own serving initiatives, or we sometimes, let me slow down. We sometimes serve with organizations. Sometimes we go into the neighborhoods, surrounding neighborhoods, just trying to do something to get out into the community. And so one of our core values is, or one of our mission pillars rather, is work. So 3 words: word, worship, and work, that we're going to be talking about in September. But one of those is work, and we define it as the work of ministry, doing the work of ministry, evangelizing, going outside of the 4 walls, sharing the good news, getting out into the community. So it looks a lot of different ways from time to time, and it has over the last 5 years since we've really first started.
This is something that we've been doing since day one.
Yeah,
we were like, you can't say we're a church and not actually like be the church and like help people. So this is something we've been doing even from our very, very first.
Yeah, when we were like pre-launch.
And we had people bring canned goods. Yeah, something like that.
We did monthly worship nights in 2019.
Yeah.
2019 mainly. We would have people bring items to donate. So we donated to food. We donated baby clothes. We donated just clothes. And we have served in the last years. We've served at shelters.
Coats,
we've served at warehouses. We've partnered with other organizations. And so last week we partnered with Oak City Cares, and they are more of a place for those who are experiencing homelessness, those who are living on the streets and serving need a meal. And so they serve breakfast. I think breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Do they serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
I think so.
On Saturdays, probably more often than that. But we went to help them serve lunch, and this was our second time there. So it was really great to be there and to talk with. And
I like talking to the people there.
Yeah, they allow us the opportunity to talk. They say, we can talk with people, we can pray, we can share the good news, share the gospel as we're feeding, as we're helping them feed.
And
the
I
people.
think a couple people got saved.
Did I think 2 people rededicated their life to Christ. 1 person got saved. So it was really great to be out there. It was
great.
As you were saying, you always like hearing the stories.
I do like hearing their stories, and sometimes they like open up and like tell me, about their life and how they got to where they are now, and things like that. And it's always really interesting.
Yeah,
I like hearing other people's stories.
Yeah, and it was great. I sat down with a couple people, just began to tell me about their life. One guy in particular, I won't say his name, but he was telling me how one thing that really hit me, just brought tears to my eyes, like really did. He was telling me, he's kind of a young guy, barely 30, I don't think, almost 30. And he was telling me how he was like, man, I was doing fine before this.
Yeah.
Like he was nice looking young guy. He said I had a good job, was working and all, and just kind of had some run-ins with some family members and things that kind of gotten out of hand. And I ended up getting in this bad accident. And he said things just kind of turned for him as far as in his health since that. He said before that I was healthy, was fine. And so, but one of the things he said though, which was encouraging, he was like, man, I get up every day and I thank God I'm alive. Yeah. And I was like, dang, bro. And he was just like, I'm just working. He said, still got a job. I got a plan to kind of get back on my feet. But it really hit me because he was like, man, you never know what the day could bring. He was like, that thing could turn on any day. I was like, bro, you reaching, bro. Cause and I experienced this too when I talk to people from my job who are, actually, I was speaking with a lady today from my job who had kind of went through some very bad financial problems, and we're walking through stuff. And she was like, it really kind of turned. Well, she did have a lot of credit cards, so she was like, I needed to not have that many. But she experienced this bad thing with her house, her kitchen. She had to have her kitchen and bathroom piping and stuff went out. So she got into this whole thing with not the HOA, but the home insurance that wouldn't cover. Basically fell behind on her bills because her kitchen and bathroom was messed up. All that to say, it was just she was like, all this stuff we're talking about, it just stemmed from that thing, what that happened with my house, and just my bills fell behind. It makes me think every time.
It makes me sad because I think you told me too about some of the people you've interviewed and they had all these bills. It was they were sick.
Right. Yeah.
And so they couldn't work. So it was like they just
Honey,
racked up.
It's been
like,
countless people that's like, man, I was fine until I had to have surgery, and the surgery cost $85,000, and I had to file bankruptcy because I didn't have $80,000. Like, and I was working until I had to have heart surgery. Like, it's been numerous people I've talked to that's like, one thing happened, and it's just like, man, the last 5 years have just been crazy, you know, or a bad divorce or something, and wife took everything, or husband took everything or something, you know. All that to say, serving there and hearing those stories, it reminded me of how like that could change every day. I mean, they say statistically, I don't know the exact number because it varies, but they say even a majority of people are living paycheck to paycheck, or like they are job loss away from like being out on the street, you know. And it's kind of scary when you really think about it. So all that to say that it was great to hear the guy's story, but I was encouraged by him by just saying he just thanked God every day, you know, that he's alive. And those are always good to hear people's stories like that.
Yeah, it is. I like being there.
Yeah.
I like seeing my mom there too. She's like really in her element.
Yeah. So. And it's good. It's good. And some of the other folks, it was about 8 of us, I think, that was there serving. And so I saw some of the others getting involved and going out and serving and talking to people. So it was really great.
People. It was good.
We always want to encourage people for our church, especially Rock Church. We always want to encourage us to put action to our faith. And so that's why one of the reasons why we say word, worship, and work. We get the word, we worship together, but at some point, all that word and worship, we got to go work it out. We have to go do something with it, and it's really methodical.
Can't just keep it to yourself.
Yeah, so that's why we encourage everybody, even our whole church. Every time we do outreaches, come on, I want to see everybody there. Now, whether everybody comes or not, that's different. But I always want to say I want to see everybody, because you can't just come to church year after year and like you never share the gospel with anybody. You never, even if it's not sharing the gospel, you never go serve and help anybody. You never go feed a homeless, get nobody some clothes,
or like, just an encouraging word, like nothing,
a smile, a prayer. At some point, our faith has to move from just sitting at church every week to actually doing something. And it's not saying you got to go quit your job and go be a missionary in a foreign country, but it is saying that where we are, like, there has to be moments where we get up and go and serve and go put action to our faith. The Bible says faith without works is dead. Come on, we in the scriptures already. So it was great to serve there at Oak City Cares, and they're right in downtown Raleigh. So if you're in Raleigh, definitely look into some opportunities. I'm sure they would love to have you going to visit and to serve with them. So it was great.
Yeah, I like it over there. The people there are really sweet.
They were all great, and it was great to talk with the people. And so it was good. It was good. It was good, and it was sobering as well. And this last thing I'll say is that I think I was talking to someone about, like, even we have our kids there.
Oh,
and I think it's good for them to even be there. Now, they weren't serving with the people, and obviously we're keeping an eye on them, and obviously we're in a shelter, so, you know, we want to be mindful. But it is good to expose them to where, like, hey, everybody's situation is not the same as yours, good or bad, you know. And I think it's good exposure for them.
Yeah, I think, like, the last time we went, there were, like, a lot of kids there too. Yeah. And and so it was interesting to see, like, conversations on the way home when they were telling me that they saw the kids and things like that.
Yeah, because kids get affected too. And so so that's our update, man. We're just serving it. We're gonna be serving again, I believe, in October. Not at Oak City Cares, but we'll be serving somewhere else. So Rock Church, be on the lookout for our next outreach opportunity, which is gonna be great, kicking up in the fall. So that's that.
That is that. Okay, so as seen on social media.
As seen.
Okay, so the topic of conversation right now is the interviews of Cam Newton and Nick Cannon on, I think it's a podcast with a psychologist named Dr. Bryant.
Right. Cheyenne, I believe is her name.
I don't know.
I think it's Cheyenne. I saw her name earlier.
Okay. I just know her name.
I don't know her personally.
I just remember Bryant.
Dr. Bryant.
Because I was like, I don't want to mess up your name.
I believe it's Cheyenne, but don't quote me.
Yeah. So anyway, did you watch, like, I did not watch the full interview, but I saw, like, clips here and there.
Yeah, I saw a couple of clips. I saw a clip from Cam Newton's, kind of the one that was going viral, and then I saw the other one, I guess, that came up. Maybe she did that with Nick Cannon a little while ago, and it was a similar conversation, so I watched those as well. I think that Nick Cannon's came up because of the Cam Newton thing. So if you have not seen it, it's basically Cam Newton, who is a football player. Former football player. Yeah. He went on a podcast and basically had a very different take on fatherhood, marriage, being a husband, and things like that. And he basically was saying, like, he's still waiting for his wife. Although he has, I think it is 8 children with
several different,
I think three different
women, and he said that he is ready to have even more women, like,
and children.
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
children. So I'm saying he's ready to have more women. That's not what he said.
Well,
he wants to have more children. He wants to have a whole bunch of children, but he's like, I don't know about getting married. Right. And Nick Cannon basically had a very same interview when he talked to Dr. Bryant. And so she basically was like holding them accountable to their actions. Mm-hmm. And it was really interesting to see that people being in such powerful positions saying how they feel, and then like someone like checking them and being like, come on.
Yeah. Right. And I don't know how many kids Nick Cannon has now. I think he's about that same. Is he almost at 10 or something? He's around that 7, 8, 9. You know, he's somewhere in that range as well, with multiple different women, to my understanding. And he was kind of like that, not the first one, because obviously this has been happening for years on end, but it was more in more recent years. He's been multiple conversations about him just having multiple kids with multiple different women, and he's talked about how he's just kind of, the women know up front, kind of he goes into it kind of like, hey, I'm not, I ain't gonna be married and all that, but we're gonna have this baby. And so this is my thing, is that, and we want to give up, this is the culture and the cross. So we give perspective concerning the cross, and I think that it just really speaks to that. So and this is he catching a little stray a little bit, but another football player that plays as well, he was just recently he's got going on 12 kids or something like that with multiple women. Has had multiple women within this last year. Has had multiple kids in this last year or two. Had 2 or 3 kids in the last year with just different women.
I probably heard about it, but I don't know people's names.
And so, but I think that, man, let's just go from a biblical perspective. One, I do think that it is, man, it just speaks to the brokenness of our men, us as men, and our misunderstanding of commitment. Meaning, I've seen this conversation before, is that we are willing to have children with someone, but marriage is too far. We're willing to have a baby. Let's just be honest, have intercourse, unprotected, have a child
multiple
children, that now you're connecting with this person and this children, a literal another life is involved, an innocent life at that. But yet the idea of a commitment to marriage, let's be honest, a marriage that, and we're not advocating for divorce, but let's be honest, you can get out of a marriage if you really want to that bad. You can go down to the courthouse and get out of that. But that child is not going anywhere.
No.
I have always thought that it is, I think it's always been baffling to me that having a baby with someone that now you have to be connected with for the rest of your life, and there's another innocent person involved, that's not too much of a commitment. But being married and saying, I'm going to be in a relationship with you, no, I'm scared of that. And that was one of Cam Newton's things. He was saying, he did. I have this great fear of divorce. He said his fear of divorce is greater than his desire for marriage.
Right.
And it's just but your fear of not just producing multiple children by multiple different women, and Dr. Bryant made a good point, producing broken homes after broken homes, that's not a great fear for you?
No, I think I like how she said it's selfish.
Yes.
It's incredibly selfish
it is.
For you to have this deep fear just because of something you're afraid of, that you're just basically running off of a fear, and it's selfish.
Right.
Now these it's difficult to be a father of 12, 15 kids.
It's gonna be very difficult.
No matter how much money that you got
10 kids and y'all at the house at the mansion, and you raising your kids with your wife, and y'all, more power to you if you got 10 kids. But now, from my understanding, these him and Nick Cannon, multiple homes.
Exactly.
It's and Dr. Bryant made a good point. I'm just kind of quoting when she said one of these children, if not multiple of them, are going to be lacking something from their father.
Yes.
And so it's and these guys got money. These guys aren't poor. They're not working a regular job.
But you can't just throw money at children. Right. It doesn't work that way. They need an emotional connection as well.
And I think that
they need guidance.
It's reinforcing. Lord Jesus, we on the podcast now, so I had to sit up because I felt myself going. It's reinforced, and then I got to talk to us black folks as well. Now, because we've had this issue with in the black community, not always our fault. So let me say this. We've dealt with black men families not being together.
Yeah.
And being broken homes. Some of that goes back to slavery, right? You take the man, the husband, the father from the plantation, move him over somewhere else, right? And that has been perpetuated. So I'm not saying it's our fault. So hear me clearly. I'm not saying black people. And then that continued on through all these different things, and you have generations of this, and then you get years later, late 1900s, you get this whole thing with the prison system.
Yeah.
These black men are being sent off to prison, creating more broken homes, right? So some of this is systemic. I said statistic. Some of this is systemic.
Yes,
right.
It's
not just our fault, but we do have now a responsibility now that we know better. Do better, right? So this is still happening. There are still brothers who are being sent off, that are being home from environments that society is preying on. But I do think there's some level to where, guys, we know better. We know that these broken homes are not making us better as a community. No. And I have a problem with this because these are two brothers.
Right.
And I'm not saying there's other ethnicities that don't do this, because I'm sure they do.
Yeah,
but these just happen to be two famous brothers. But also they two brothers. And it's like you're still creating this cycle of brokenness in our homes that is not going to be healed. So we're going to have more kids, more sons and daughters coming up with this idea of so imagine he has sons now. I don't know how many are sons and daughters, but now these sons come up thinking, oh, well, my dad was.
I don't have to really be there.
I don't have to commit to a woman and build a core family. I can just be all in the streets.
What you trying to say?
You remember that movie Coming to America? Oh. he talking about sowing his royal oats. That's what I was trying to say. But it perpetuates this idea. And the thing is, if it starts in the fathers, how much greater will it be in the sons?
Yeah.
So you got 8 kids with 3 women. What will the sons be doing? Right? And so I don't like, as a brother, as a black man too, this creating this continued cycle of brokenness in our homes and our families. And we understand too, I think even society, statistically, we're seeing that when these fathers are not in the home, when families not together, that's not doing the child any favors, right? We're giving, and all children with 2 parents aren't angels.
No, there's so trauma.
Right. But at the same time, we're giving them a better chance when they're not having to fight for mama and daddy, all over the place. I said a lot there, but I didn't mean to say that much. But the point is relevant, is that I think it is creating a bad cycle.
But I think also it is the true definition of a man who likes the idea of like fatherhood and stuff, but they don't really want to do it, but they want you for sure to be the mother.
Right.
And like, nah.
Yeah.
But also from that interview, I honestly feel really bad for his current girlfriend, because you literally just had a baby with her. Like y'all just had a baby, and then you go on the podcast saying, but I'm just not ready for marriage.
Yeah.
But like, you just had a baby with this girl. She's like watching your interview. Yeah. And you're saying, I'm sure
she knows that. And maybe she, but, and I'm not saying marriage is everybody wants to be married, but I do think, man, this is it's so much, because I'm like, no one wants to be married, but we want to just like perpetually create broken homes and kids all over the place. Like I don't think that's adding up. Now this is the thing, listen, this is culture in the cross, man. So it's no judgment here. It's no condemnation. Like if in your previous life, whatever case before Christ,
that's fine.
You had 4, 5, 6 kids by 5, 6. Hey, and you saved now, God bless you. Let's not keep living that though. So hear me. This is not no judgment, and it's not saying that people don't have kids from different situations. And I'm not saying that at all, right? Because we have people in our church that aren't married, that have kids from different relationship, this and that. I'm not saying that, but I'm talking about this is almost an epidemic with these 2 gentlemen. This is like, you guys are just continuing a very bad cycle. We're not talking about 1 or 2
all based
kids,
off of a fear,
right? Because you don't want to be married, but you don't mind committing to being a father or attempting to be a father, but marriage is too high of a commitment.
I just don't know how you're going to be able to be
present.
Yeah. So like, there's literally no amount of money.
No,
that is going to that is going to replace you and help you be a father.
No, it's not.
To those children.
Yeah.
So if they all got football games
right
on the same night, whose game are you going to?
I don't know.
Are you going to create like a calendar?
I don't know.
And I hope that the women that he's been with, if there is some type of agreement, I hope they don't feel like they've been duped. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I feel like sometimes as women, we go into these situations like, I can be the one to change his mind. I can be the one to change his mind. Just real delusional type almost. And then you realize once you have the baby with him or whatever, and he's moved on.
Yeah.
And then you're sitting there like, well, dang, I'm the third baby mama.
Right.
I thought I could change him. And like, but it's like, what made you think that he would be different?
Right.
You are the third, fourth, fifth baby mama.
Right. Right.
You're not number,
Yeah. Yeah. So we're going to pray for them, all of them.
I just hope that they,
and the kids as well, because they're innocent in this.
Yeah. That is all for that, I guess.
That's that. Let us know. What do y'all think about this?
Yes. Did you guys like watch it? What do you think? Like, do you want to have 20 children?
No. All right.
Okay. So now for our questions that need answers.
Questions that need answers.
Yeah. So the question is, I love my job, but it sometimes conflicts with church activities. Should I prioritize work or church commitments?
I like it. As someone in the ministry, I like that question. I think it's really good. So you want to go first? I started the last one. You go this.
I was going to say, like, I see both parts.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I understand, like, putting God first, but I also understand, like, I got to pay these bills.
That's true.
So I don't know.
Well, I think that, we all have, in some ways, we all have to make a living.
We do have to make, you got to work.
Yeah. And so I think that, I guess probably reframing a little bit is that, your job doesn't have to be at odds with church or church activities, right? It's not one or the other.
No.
It's definitely both and, because we all know in this world, in this broken fallen world, we'd love to just be like Adam and Eve and just sitting, eating fruit and, just naming animals and all day.
We shouldn't be working.
Right. We just reading the word all day.
Yeah.
But we live in a world where we all have to work and we all have to make a living.
We do.
And so I would
something.
say this to any person in that scenario where it's like, man, I want to be involved at church, but yet I have to work, this and that and the third. One, I would say, once again, take the pressure off. The church is not going under because you're not there every single day of the week. The church is not going to fall apart because you one person are not there every week. Just like I'm the pastor and the church is not going to fall apart if I'm not there every week. But I do think it is a balancing of priorities as well. And so I think it is good to prioritize your work because you have to provide.
You do.
You have to provide for yourself if you're a single person. If you're a married couple, or if you're a husband, you have to provide for your family. If you're a wife, you have to provide for your family. Like all of those things, your household bills, your bills have to be paid. And you can't not work and then, be about to be evicted. And people are like, oh man, where you working? God gonna provide. It's
I think you need to participate in the church activities.
Participate
as when you can.
When you can, yeah.
Like, I don't think you shouldn't forego anything. But I also don't think that if the church is pressuring you to be there,
that's
maybe
different.
we should evaluate.
Yeah.
Is this a church or is
like
this
So if you're in a situation where you're being pressured, like, hey, you gotta be here, you're supposed to be here every time the doors are open. Well, that's a problem because
that's not even realistic.
Unless you are literally on staff at the church and you work at the church.
Yeah, but if you don't work there and I work at Walmart and you're making
like maybe some of those days I gotta work, Pastor. I ain't gonna hold you. I got to pay these bills.
Yeah.
But so it's that thing can swing one end or the other, because on one end I think we should prioritize serving in the church as well, but I think it's about honest communication as well. If you communicate with your pastor to say, hey pastor, I can serve on these particular days, or I can serve once a month, I can serve twice a month, or I can be here for that, or pastor, man, I'm not gonna be able to make it today, I actually have to work that day. I think any reasonable ministry leader would understand that. But I think but it can swing the other end too, because as some people say, I ain't never serving over because I always got to work. I got to work every week. I got to work every Sunday. I got to work every Saturday.
But some people do have to work every Sunday.
Right, they do. But my thing is like, okay, at some level though, we got to find, okay, where can you get in? When do you make time? Do you attend the midweek?
Yeah.
Do you say, man, I have a job where I literally work?
Or do you or if there's a church with like small groups, can you attend one of those?
Right. That's the thing. Now that's the difference between attendance and serving too.
Well, yeah, but I think sometimes like if you are working all the time, you may not be able to serve, but you can come attend and at least get connection.
Right. It ain't nobody working 7 days a week, 24 hours a day.
No.
And so my thing's like, what if you say, oh man, I work 3 Sundays out the month. Okay, maybe you come and serve on the fifth, on the fourth one.
Because I know like waitresses.
If you have a job like that, right? I work every Sunday from 8 to 3. You know, do you attend a church where they have an evening thing? Do they have maybe you attend a church where they have a Saturday service, right?
Yeah.
I think that you should make the effort. I don't think using an excuse of I work on Sundays as an excuse to not be involved in the church. Maybe find other opportunities. I know we did our outreach. We did that on a Saturday, right?
Yes, we did.
Whatever the case may be. And so I do think there's flexibility in that, because most importantly, your work is not sinful and then just serving at the church is holy. The Bible says in Colossians, we're going to work, I think it's Colossians 3, work as unto the Lord.
Right.
So your work still should be a worship unto the Lord as well. How you show up on time, how you do your work, how excellent your integrity at work, how you treat people at work. All of that is still a witness, and you are still being the church at work. And so just because you're not serving as a preacher on Sunday, or you're not serving in the choir, or you're not serving, with the kids' church, that doesn't mean you're not still actively being the church. But then maybe in this season, I'm not able to commit to being here, the greeter at the door every Sunday, but I can do it once a month, Pastor, because I work the other Sundays, right?
Right.
Or I can do it on the Saturday service if you're at a church that has that. Or you can say, oh man, I can be here at the midweek. I'm off every Wednesday. I could come and open up the church early on Wednesday at evenings, Pastor, because you know what I mean? There's opportunities. So I feel like for the person who works a lot, and people work different jobs, right? Some people work in, I know your dad, for example, for years up until he retired, he worked a rotating shift. So he would work 2 weeks on like a day shift, a 9 to 5 or something like, I don't know the hours are. Then he would work like 2 weeks on a night shift from like whatever 7 to 7, and then he would work 2 more weeks on like an evening shift from 3 to 11. But this thing, he still served at his church. He served on the weeks that he could.
When he could,
he would let them know. He was over a ministry at his church, and still couldn't be there for everything.
We have a couple people I think of in our church now that work rotating shifts, and they come when they can and serve when they can.
Right. But the thing is, and I have to clarify, when they can. When they can doesn't mean we'd be like, you show up every 3 months.
Yeah, it's not like willy-nilly.
There's still a commitment, because I think at some level, I think for the function of the church as well, it's like, well, we kind of have a baseline commitment. Like, if you can't do this probably once a month, I don't know if this is going to be a good ministry for you. This might be not your season to serve. But there are others and multiple people at our church that's like, hey, we rotate Sundays, this and that. Okay, but they commit, I can serve once a month on Sunday. Because that's one of those. And then another Sunday, they may come and they may sit and just worship. I'm okay with that. And I think that
I wasn't saying it like, be willy-nilly.
Yeah, so like the commitment is like, I know this is just for us as our church, we put it to where like we need you to serve. If you're going to serve in a volunteer, you have to volunteer at least once a month. That's the baseline. If you could do once a month, I'm good with that. Like we let everybody know that's good. If you can't do every week, it's okay. But if you say, I can serve every other month on the fourth Thursday, it's like, well, that's not really going to work for the function of the ministry. But that doesn't exclude people, like multiple people that work different jobs, to say, hey, take care of your commitments, but I want to encourage you to not just use that commitment, because some people use that as an excuse to say, I ain't never doing nothing. It's like, no, I want to encourage you to still work towards a commitment, but maybe your commitment changes in certain seasons. Last thing I'll say is that we've had people where it was a season where they could serve all the time, every time. And then they went to a season where, dang, I can only do twice a month, Pastor. Like my job situation kind of changed.
That's fine.
And that's okay. But it's about that being honest and still making an effort, like I said, to serve. Once again, if you're in a place where they forcing you and they say you're not saved if you don't be at the church every Sunday serving every week,
then you need to reevaluate.
That's a problem. And I would kind of have a conversation with your leaders about that.
I want to say, like, there are a lot of different churches. There are a lot of, even around this area, like we've seen churches where like their people they have people that a lot of their congregation works in the morning. So they literally don't start service until like late afternoon or evening. Or there's another church where they have a lot of younger congregation. So they don't start until basically like after brunch.
Right.
Or they start early enough so people can get to brunch. I don't remember. It was something like that. Yeah. So there's a church for you.
There is. Yeah. Yeah.
So like it doesn't have to be this like tug and all this about like, what am I supposed to do? Like,
no, make time to serve, but also know that your job you are serving the Lord by providing for your family as well.
Yes.
Listen, Lord Jesus, by paying your bills on time. That's a great witness as well.
Being a good steward over what you have is paying your bills.
And doing your job well is a witness as well. So if you're in a situation where you work a particular job that rotates shifts, that man, I can't always be here. Don't feel like you're not still serving the Lord by doing that, because you are. But I would encourage you, have a conversation with your leaders, with your pastors if you're able, with your deacons, your elders, whomever, those ministry leaders, and say, hey, I want to serve, but I can, I only got one Sunday a month I can do it. Is that okay? And if they don't say it's okay, that's a different conversation. But I think that most reasonable ministry people say, you know what, I appreciate your effort to want to be involved in the life of the church, whether serving on Sunday morning or serving in the outreach team that goes out on Friday evening they go downtown and witness and evangelize. That might be a serving opportunity, right? See, we think about different stuff that's maybe out the box, that's not just Sunday morning from 10 to 12.
Because also there
could be another opportunity as well.
And like leading a small group, something like that too.
Right. Man, listen, it's so many opportunities. And I think that, and this last thing I'll say is that I think that in our new age, especially with the internet, there's so many opportunities for people to serve that's not just Sunday as well.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe they can serve with the online ministry. Maybe they can serve with the social media, making posts. Maybe they can serve behind the scenes with the admin, with the emails, with the calendar.
Yeah. Stuff keeping the website updated.
Stuff that doesn't require you to to be in the physical building.
You gotta sometimes think outside the box.
And I'm an advocate for being at church in the physical building every week. I'm gonna be there every week. So I want to see everybody in our church every week. But I realize certain seasons require different things.
They do.
And I think we're in a technology era where we can, even as ministry leaders, maybe we can be flexible to allow people spaces to serve in different ways that may not always be at the church on Sunday morning, if they're not always able to be. And so, those are just a few things. Gave y'all a lot of good nuggets on that.
Yeah, some little out of the box serving opportunities that a lot of people just don't think about.
Right, absolutely. So,
yeah.
All right, y'all. That's that.
That is that.
The culture and the cross. Rock Church, we'll see y'all on Sunday, 10 a.m.
Yes.
First Sunday in September. Moving into the fall. There it is. September 1st is Sunday.
I literally was like, it's not September.
It absolutely is. We are having communion on Sunday. We're taking communion. September 1st is here. On Sunday, we are celebrating the Lord's body.
Yeah.
So we'll see y'all there this Sunday.
See you Sunday.
Right, have a good day.
Bye.
Peace.